I am Sampath, student of Jana Educational Organization. I am going to discuss about the human digestive system. In my previous video, I have discussed about it, and this is the second part of the video and the last part, obviously. So the link of the first part is given in the description below. I first go and check that out. After that, watch this video so you can get a clear idea. And in this video, I'm going to use some handwritten notes. So in this video, I'm going to use some handwritten notes, and these handwritten notes you can get by checking the link in the description. But the PDF is encrypted, so you have to watch this complete video to get the password. At any time of the video, I can give the password, so please watch this video carefully. And if you find this video useful, you can share it with your teachers, your friends, your classmates. Okay, so without wasting further time, let's get started with today's lesson. Okay, so we are in our workspace. So as you can see, in my previous video, I have discussed about the digestive system. So this is the structure of the whole digestive system. Sorry, I have written here stomach, but it will be digestive system. Okay, this is the esophagus. Just a quick recap. This is the liver. This is the stomach. This leaf-like structure is known as pancreas, and this supercoiled structure, this structure is known as our small intestine, and this simple part right here is known as large intestine. Let me clear the mark so that you can see it clearly. So first hypercoil is known as ileum. This first part was the first hypercoil part is known as ileum, and next hypercoil part is known as jejunum. So and the part of large intestines are this is the ascending colon, this is the transverse colon, and this is the descending colon. I told you why it is known as ascending colon, transverse colon, and descending colon, because see, from here the food is coming from the small intestine, and here is the appendix, which is a vestigial organ of our human body, and from there the food particles are going upwards. So as it is going upwards, it is known as ascending colon. Next, the food particles are going from there to next end of our stomach, next end of our digestive system, sorry. So it is known as transverse colon, and the food particles are going then down. From down there it is coming to the rectum for storing, and through anus it is going out of our body. So as it is coming down, so it is known as descending colon. So this was the digestive system. I wrote here stomach. This was a big mistake by me, sorry for that. It will be digestive system. Next, today what we are going to discuss is our hepatopancreatic duct. What is hepatopancreatic duct? Sometimes the question comes in our NEET as well as our final term. What is hepatopancreatic duct? So hepatopancreatic duct, as I told previously, this is a cystic duct which is coming from the gallbladder, and this is the hepatic duct which is coming from the second lobe. This is the second lobe, and this is the gallbladder. From here cystic duct, and from this second part it is coming the hepatic duct. So these two ducts when they meet, this is known as common bile duct, CBD. So this is known as common bile duct. And again one duct which is pancreatic duct. So these two ducts are coming here, and pancreatic duct again mixing with this common bile duct, and they are coming and contributing to our digestive system through one single duct which is known as hepatopancreatic duct. And here we have a sphincter, to control the flow of the enzyme we need sphincter, and this is known as sphincter of OD. Sphincter of OD. Okay, understood? Now we have small intestine. What are the function of, function not like that, what are the enzymes and juices present in our small intestine? So the mucus cells, as I told you previously, the small intestine have some mucus cells. So these mucus cells produces succus entericus. Succus entericus. This succus entericus again in turn produces enterokinase. this Shaka entericus produces enterokinase. Now again, what is the function of enterokinase? It activates trypsinogen. Trypsinogen is activated by enterokinase. Again, what is the function of trypsinogen? It transforms into trypsin. So this is inactivated stage, trypsinogen, and trypsin is the activated stage. What is the use of trypsin? As I said you in previous video, that which are written in the green color box, you should write it down. Otherwise, I have made a chart. In my next page, the chart is given. You can have a glance of the chart here. You can have a glance of the chart here. So this chart right here, you need to understand it very properly and you need to memorize it. This chart, it is in the next part, second part. Now we are having this page. And in next page you will get this chart. So you need to memorize it because you know from questions may come from different types, different lines of the book. So you need to memorize that. It is a bit easy. I'll let you know when I'll discuss about the second page. Proteins, when they come in contact with trypsin. So protein is a complex substance. When they come in contact with trypsin, which was produced from trypsinogen, they form peptides. Okay, this one I'll discuss later. Next, this was the use of mucus layer. Now what does submucosal layer do? Submucosal layer modifies in small intestine in Brunner's gland. So what is the modification of submucosal layer in the small intestine? It is Brunner's gland. So what does this Brunner's gland does? It maintains the pH. It maintains the pH in our small intestine. What is the pH of our small intestine? It is slightly alkaline. You have to remember this. It is slightly alkaline. It maintains the pH of our small intestine. Now we are going to the second page. Okay, so once again, welcome back everyone. This is the second page of our lesson. In this second page, whatever I am going to discuss, you should very minutely remember the contents, whatever content I am showing now, because this is going to come in your NEET as well as your final exam, so you should minutely remember it. Okay, so let's have a look whatever it is written. So what does this page say? This is about the simplified detailed chart, conversion table. So from complex substance to simpler substance, how this is going to happen, let us have a look. So first of all, we have three things: protein, peptones and protease. We have proteins, we have peptones, we have and protease. So these three substances comes in contact of trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase. With these three enzymes, they form into dipeptidase. Next we have polysaccharides. Polysaccharides come in contact to amylase and forms disaccharide. Polysaccharide comes in contact to amylase and form disaccharides. This amylase is present in our saliva. Next we have nucleic acid. With the help of nuclease, it transforms into nucleotide. With nucleotidase, it transforms into nucleoside, and with the help of nucleosidase, it forms sugar plus base. You can see here one pattern. Nucleotide comes in contact with nucleotidase. Nucleoside comes in contact with nucleosidase. Okay, so by this way you can remember it easily. Nucleic acid, from nucleic acid it comes to nuclease, and with the help of nuclease it forms nucleotide. From nucleotide it comes in contact with nucleotidase to form nucleoside. Again nucleoside comes in contact with nucleosidase to form sugar plus base. Okay, so this was the number 5. Number 6, we have fatty acid. Fatty acid comes in contact with lipids because from lipids it forms mono and diglycerides. From lipids it forms, means with the help of lipids it forms mono and diglycerides. Again, these comes in again contact with lipids. So here two times lipase is involved. One from fatty acid to mono and diglycerides. Again from mono and diglycerides to lipid plus glycerol. So complex substance, we have simpler substance. Next we have three things. These are the polysaccharides. These are the polysaccharides, which are the mixtures of two monosaccharides. So first one is maltose. Maltose comes in contact with maltase and forms glucose, 2-glucose, means glucose plus glucose. Then lactose. Lactose comes in contact with lactase and forms glucose plus galactose. These two are again monosaccharides, which is polysaccharide and transformed into two monosaccharides. Sucrose comes in contact with sucrase and forms glucose plus fructose. So sucrose comes in contact with sucrase and forms glucose plus fructose. You have to remember these simple conventions. 9 conventions are there, and you need to remember it. Those who are reading in ICSC, for them it was given in class 9, but those who are reading in CBSE, they have to remember it now because it may come in NEET. Okay, so this was our second page. Next, let's go to our third page. Welcome back. This is our third page of today's lesson. So in this third page, what we have here, let us have a glance. So in this third page, we have absorption in small intestine. Absorption in small intestine. So after this, we had digestion, how digestion works. Now we are going to discuss about the absorption, because after digestion comes the absorption. Then it is about the excretion. So before that, we have to discuss about the absorption in small intestine. Okay, so what you are seeing here is the inner structure of our small intestine. In our small intestine, so let's assume this is our small intestine. So let's assume this is our small intestine. There are some finger-like projections which are known as villi. So these are the villi, which are the finger-like projections on the wall of small intestine, known as villi. So these villi, what are the use of this villi? These villi increases the surface area for absorption. So you can see, if it was plain like this, sorry, let me draw the diagram here so that you can understand it easily. It was super plain. Then what are the boluses? Okay, so that would go smoothly from here and no absorption would take place. But as there are finger-like projection on the walls of the small intestine, so what happens, the bolus comes here and they get stuck in the finger-like projection, and whenever they stuck, the nutrients, water molecules, etc., what are needed for our body, which are essential for our body, gets absorbed in this finger-like projections, and they increase the surface area. So you can see here, this is a nice surface. If it will be small, then it would be less surface, but it is small surface. It is a large surface, sorry. So these are the structure of villi, and on the villi we have some blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. On villi you have some blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels are known as lacteals. You need to remember this. So what are the lacteals? Lacteals are the lymphatic vessels present on our villi. Okay, so these are the finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections have some gap in between them. So you can see here, they have some gap. These gaps are known as crypts of Lebreton. Okay, The gaps are known as crypts of lubricant. Okay. Again, these villi have finger-like projection. So suppose this is a finger-like projection, this is a villi. Again on villi, we have some small finger-like projections. We have some small finger-like projections which are known as microvilli. Okay, got it? Microvilli also have the same function. It increases the surface area of the villi. Villi increases the surface area of small intestine. Microvilli increases the surface area of villi. So, villi have further projections called microvilli, which are about our walls of the small intestine. Now, absorption. Absorption have three types. Absorption have three types. What are the types? Active, passive, and facilitated. So, active, passive, and facilitated. Let us have a look on the three types of absorption. What is active absorption? Active absorption is the absorption which happens from lower concentration to higher concentration. Lower concentration to higher concentration or higher region, you can say. This type of absorption is known as active absorption. What are the things that get absorbed in active absorption? First we have monosaccharides, then we have sodium ions, Na plus ions, and we have amino acids. These three things gets absorbed by our active absorption. Next, we have passive absorption. So passive absorption, in this absorption, amino acid which were left in active absorption other than active, those amino acids get absorbed by the passive absorption, and some sugar molecules are there, they get directly absorbed by passive absorption. Next, we have facilitated absorption. What is a facilitated absorption? Higher to lower concentration is our facilitated absorption. So this is suppose this is the higher concentration area. This don't take this arrow otherwise, because this is not according to the height. This does not show the height. This is a concentration. This is a high concentration and this is the low concentration. Remember it always. This is the high concentration area and this is the low concentration area. In this low concentration area, from high concentration substances gets absorbed in the low concentration by the help of osmosis. So this is facilitated absorption. Now the time has come to share the password of the PDF that you can find in the description. If you have come up to this much and if you find it useful, then please like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any queries, then do comment down. And if you are new here, then please subscribe our video, and if you find it useful, then share it with your friends, teachers. So what is the password of our PDF? The password of our PDF is small c, small s, small e, 579. This is the password of our PDF, and you can find it in the description box. Okay, so let's continue with our next other session. So what do we have here? Absorption of water insoluble substances. You know, lipid and fat molecules are insoluble substances. So to absorb them, what system we have in our body? Let's say it a system. What system do we have in our body? Let's check it out. Lipid. So lipid is the insoluble substances. How it gets absorbed? Let's see. Small globule incorporate fat molecule. Suppose this is the fat molecule. This small dot right here, is a fat molecule, and one globule incorporate on the fat molecule, which is known as micelle. What is the micelle? It may come in exam. Micelle is the small globule incorporated on the fat molecule. This micelle again undergo more one layer of incorporation of protein layer. This was the micelle and this is the protein layer. So this protein layer is known as chylomyron. Chylomyron protein layer gets incorporated on the micelle layer. So this chylomicron layer is a protein layer incorporated on micelle. Lacteals. I said you previously what are the lacteals. Lacteals are the lymphatic vessels present on the villi. Lacteals carry chylomicron to small intestine. Okay. So this is the end of our third page. Next we are moving on to the fourth page. Okay, so this is all about our fourth and the last page. And if you find this explanation useful, then please subscribe to this channel. It would mean a lot. And like this video and give it a thumbs up. So this is the fourth and the last page of our today's session, and the series of digestion and absorption ends here. After this page of after the explanation of this page. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's see what are the contents of this page. First, we have here disorders and diseases related to digestive tract. What are the disorders and diseases you can have in our digestive tract? Let's see. First one disease that common is diarrhea. So what is the diarrhea? When the absorption process fails or reduces, then the fecal matter, what are the waste products, they are very much the liquidity in the feces and the waste products, it increases. So liquidity in fecal matter increases. Why this happens? What is the cause of diarrhea? Due to the abnormal frequency of bowel movement. We know in our stomach and small intestine we have a movement which is known as bowel movement. In my previous video I have explained it. So due to the bowel movement, due to the failure of the bowel movement, sorry, not due to the bowel movement, due to the failure of or abnormal frequency of bowel movement, the liquidity in fecal matter takes place, which is known as diarrhea. In common term we say it loose motion. Okay, so this is the diarrhea. Next one disease we have constipation. What is constipation? Constipation is just the opposite of diarrhea. In diarrhea we have liquidity in fecal matter, but in constipation waste products hardens, means they don't have any liquid. So as it hardens, it takes very lot of effort to come out from anus, and in that patient suffers a lot of pain in their anus region. So what is constipation? Proper digestion fails to occur. Obviously we have diseases related to digestive tract, so if proper digestion fails to occur, then these diseases may occur. So constipation is due to proper digestion fails to occur. Fecal matter retains into rectum. This is very much painful for the patients because fecal matter retains into the rectum. So if fecal matter retains into the rectum, we have loss of appetite, means the patient don't want to eat any food. So for that reason this is very painful for the patient because they fail to eat anything, and the fecal matter also doesn't want to come out from the anus because it hardens. For this reason this condition is very painful, and constipation it is seen in mostly adults, older who are older person. Constipation is common in them, and waste products hardens. Next we have third point is indigestion. obviously indigestion is common in us, which we say in common term acidity. So this is known as indigestion. Indigestion is due to overeating, intake of spicy food, and contaminated food. If you eat anything of previous days, and those are the contaminated food. If you eat them, if you take much more spicy food, if you overeat, then these type of problems are common in then this type of problem may occur in your body. Indigestion. What are the symptoms of indigestion? Feels nausea. Patient feels nausea and vomiting. Okay. Next, what are the cause of what is the cause of indigestion? Lack of proper digestion. Same as previous, lack of proper digestion causes indigestion, which is known as acidity. Next, we have in our NCERT book extra two diseases, kwashiorkor and marasmus. These two diseases are extra in our NCERT book, and these are related to digestion as well as malnutrition, and for that reason these two diseases may occur. Let's see. It occurs in 1 to 3 years of children who are elder than 1 to 3 years. In them, kwashiorkor is common. Why this happens? Due to the protein deficiency. What are the symptoms? Too much fluid in body tissue. Body tissue, when body tissue, the fluid fluid accumulates in our body tissue, it swells up, which is known as oedema. Swelling under the skin, which is known as oedema. So patient swells up, and this is a symptom of kwashiorkor. Next, we have marasmus. Marasmus, it occurs in children less than 1 year who are infants, less than 1 year, and kwashiorkor was 1 to 3 years who are older than 1 year, and below 1 year who are there, they may suffer from marasmus. This is also for the malnutrition. And in regions of Asia and Africa, it is common, because Asia and Africa are developing countries. So as it is developing countries, so there will be poverty in some areas, slums will be there, and if there will be poverty, then they cannot afford such good food so that they can give to their children for good nutrition. For this reason, Asia and Africa in some parts, they have malnutrition, which is known as for that reason marasmus is common. Next, we have jaundice. Jaundice is a high level of bilirubin. As I said in previous video, there are two pigments which are known as bilirubin and biliverdin. So if the level of bilirubin increases, then jaundice may occur. White part of eyes, the white part of our eyes, then skin and mucous membrane turns yellow. So the white part of our eyes, skin and mucous membrane turns yellow. This is a symptom of jaundice. Next, hepatitis, gallbladder stones, and tumors. These three things may cause also the jaundice. Hepatitis, gallbladder stones, and tumors causes also, rather than digestive tract, malfunction of digestive tract. Rather than that, we have three more diseases: hepatitis, gallbladder stones, and tumors. These three diseases may also cause our jaundice. So the series of digestion and absorption ends here. Okay, so the series of digestion and absorption ends here. I hope you like this series, and if you do so, then please let us know in the comment section. And as you know, I'm also a student, so I may have made so many mistakes in the video, so please feel free to comment if I have done any mistake in the video. And if you find this useful, then comment down that one also. And if you have doubt in any part, you can comment. So that's it for today. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay happy. Goodbye.